And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Darren back with you, day number 5 of our dry down. Dry down's been tough. We've had temperatures in the low 70s, like 71, 72 degrees. Most of the week, that's the high temperatures. Lows in the 50s. A breeze and lower humidity, but not a lot of solar radiant heat on this hay. And the dry down's been tough. Came out this morning after we baled one bale yesterday, and there was a pretty heavy dew on this hay. We left it in windrows. Once the dew had burned off all the top of it, and you could feel no more moisture in the top, I flipped every one of these windrows. They've all been turned the bottom side up, and let's do a twist test to see kind of where we stand. I'm gonna grab some hay right here, and boy, is that good looking hay. All right, double it over, and we're gonna give it the old timer's way of telling if your hay's dry. That's pretty good. All right, where we twisted it, broke. Okay, let me grab another one from another windrow right here. Okay, here's a little more. Let's give it the bicycle pedal twist test. Right in two. All right, I believe this hay's ready. Yesterday when we tested it, we had one side of the bale that obviously had some hay in it that was not near as dry. Tested around 25% moisture, maybe a little higher. The rest of the bale around 16%. I like for our hay, for premium hay, to be in that 15 to 16% moisture. That's personal preference. I know when we fed this hay to our animals here on our farm, those bales that had about 15, 16% moisture, man, you'd have to get them by those dairy goats, you'd have to get them by the collar and literally almost drag them away from the hay feeders. They loved it. A good smell, no mold, no mildew, but a good fresh smelling hay, and I think your moisture content has a lot to do with that. You gotta have good hay to start with, the totality of the circumstances. It's day number 5, so we're gonna bale. It's about 3:30 p.m. and per usual, we'll bale one bale, test the moisture. After 5 days of sun, I can't imagine that this is going to test high again. All right, everything on the tractor and the baler's ready from last night. Everything's already done. All we got to do, pull the tractor and the baler out of the barn and hit the ground running. We're going to start baling this test plot. Just getting ready to start baling hay. Grab my moisture meter, and it's an Agra-Tronics with the probe with a cord. I forget the exact model of it. Picked it up, and I don't know if you can see this, there's a little plastic part right in between these two stainless tips. There's a wire running in there. It's got a little bitty hole. I'm not a scientist and I don't know how these things work, but I do know when something's broke. I picked this thing up, and this little plastic piece where it joins in this bottom stainless part was just hanging. The toe tip of it was hanging over, broke. The wire was still attached in there, and it appears to still be, it's at least turning on and all that stuff. So I took a little bit of super glue and I've reattached it. I don't know if it'll stay. What a time for your hay moisture meter to break, the tip of it to break. I don't know how that happened. When I picked it up, I just seen it kind of, the tip of it just kind of flopped over, and I thought, uh-oh. Looks like, I'm hoping the super glue will hold it good enough till we can finish it. And I guess a new moisture meter is in my future. I think if I buy another one, if I can't find just a replacement probe, and I looked real quick, and just the replacement probe for this thing's about $100. I'd like to have one of the HT Pro models that don't have the cord. You just stick it in, and those will register down to 8%. This one will only register to 14.5, is as low as it will go. As far as moisture, it'll read the range of temperatures, but moisture, 14.5 is as low as it will go. This is a very important piece of equipment on a hay farm. It's got to be replaced. I'm hoping this temporary fix will work till we can either buy a replacement probe or a new moisture meter. All right, let's hope it works as I'm fixing to use it. Got our broken probe, our moisture meter, hopefully repaired with some super glue. Let's see if it works. .5. Settle on a 16.3. 15.3. So far we are Johnny on the spot. This is reading really good so far. 15.5. .5. 16.1. So far our moisture meter is holding up. .2. Alright, that bale's good. We will keep baling. It's a good looking bale of hay. So far our super glue repair maybe is working. I hope. All right. $14.5. Bear in mind 14.5 is as low as this moisture reader will register. 14.5. So we know it's at least 14.5 or lower. 16.5. Boy, so far this hay's testing really good. 15.3. 14.7. Now this is personal opinion. That is a perfect moistured bale hay. That's a good bale hay. Okay, let's keep baling. We have just finished baling our hay, and the field is done. We've cleaned up basically everything we can clean up, and we've got a partial bale in our chamber. I don't like leaving a partial bale of hay in my chamber. You can see it in there. Okay, here's our tag end of our twine wrap. Okay, notice the PTO shaft is off. There is no PTO power going to this baler. Never do this with power going to the baler. It's dangerous, okay? Make sure your PTO, you can hear my tractor running, but my PTO is not running. It's in neutral and there's no power to my PTO, okay? Right here you have a lever. You can see it on top of this worm gearbox right there. My finger's touching it, okay? When I push this, this arm's gonna fall and the alarm's gonna start going off. Okay, here we go. Notice my arm is nowhere near where anything can touch it. I'm off to the side. Okay. I'm gonna come around to this side. Tie you a couple of knots in it. It'll make that roller, because your bale's not as big as it normally is. Okay, it's like that. It'll make those rollers grab that twine because there's not near as much pressure on it as they normally are. Because you don't have the pressure of a bigger bale against those rollers like you normally do. There it goes. That's how you roll a partial bale. Sometimes you may have to get off and stuff this twine down in there a couple of times, because what's happened, this bale has not reached a width putting pressure against those rollers very good yet, to where this twine has to go, here's a roller and here's your bale of twine. Your bale of hay. The twine has to go down in between where there's enough pressure of this bale against that roller for it to grab. And when this bale's not to full size yet, there's not much pressure for it to be able to grab. So sometimes you have to stuff it down in there, maybe tie a knot or two. If that don't work, push it out to about the middle of the bale, then shove it. That's what I did, and it took right off. All right, our last bale. And we will start checking moisture contents. That's about 3/4 of a bale, at least. All right, we are done. Finished baling. Let's see. These 5 right here, we've not checked the moisture content in yet. That's why I've got them separate here. Some really, really good premium hay. Moisture content spot on, about 15 to 16%. This hay smells so good, it's tempting to take a bite myself. It's some high quality hay. And the test plot is really not about making our hay business off the test plot. The test plot is to make the rest of our fields better. So what we get off of our test plot is just a bonus. But it learns us a lot about our hay and what works for our soil in our area and what doesn't. And the hay we get off of it's kind of like icing on the cake. Prime hay, Orchard, Tall Fescue, and Timothy, with a little bit of red clover mixed in. Thank you so much for being with us for our third cutting here on the test plot. I really appreciate it. And we'll be back because we still got our reclaimed hayfield to cut for the second cutting. We haven't cut that yet. Halfway through the season, we got 3 cuttings off our test plot last year, and we're in August and we've already got 3. We'll get one more off this, dependent if we get rain. If we keep getting rain regularly through the rest of August and September, I anticipate 1st of October to be able to cut this again for a 4th cutting. So come back with us as we cut our reclaimed hayfield soon. As soon as we can catch a 5-day window of no rain in the forecast, we'll start cutting it. Thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. And hey, we have the best subscribers on YouTube. You guys are fantastic. Y'all leave such good comments. I learn so much from y'all. The comments you leave and the suggestions. And everybody on our channel that leaves comments regularly, I don't worry about rude comments and vulgarity and things of that nature. Y'all are just fantastic. And I really enjoy conversing with y'all. So drop some comments. And thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it, and I pray God blesses you and your family. I hope y'all have a fantastic day.